Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our 4-H EFNEP update. I'm glad to see that all of you all are here. I would assume or anticipate that we'll have a few more people joining us as we get started. Let me advance the slide. So we have an agenda for today. Renee Jordan is first on our agenda. She has not yet joined us, so we will come back to her. Laura Lee, I did not ask if you had any comments that you might want to share with the group. If you do, this would be the time to do that.
Not at this time, but if anyone has questions, I'll be glad to answer questions.
Does anyone have questions for Laura Lee of a general nature? Okay, that's fine. Hearing none, we'll move on. Is there anyone on our Collaborate today that has not been on a 4-H EFNEP Update Collaborate? If so, can you raise your hand? Evelise, you've not been on a 4-H Collaborate before? Or do you have a question? Arnesia, thank you, Evelise. Welcome, Arnesia, to the world of 4-H EFNEP. Arnesia, for those that don't know, is in a position through A&T University. She's doing pregnant teen, some youth, and some adult, if I think I have that correct. So this is her first 4-H update. Kathy, thank you for your comment on the that you love the new books. I do too. I'm excited about them and hope that you all will find them useful as we go through them and as you use them with your students this year. So as you can see by our agenda, Renee will be joining us at some point and will give us an update. We'll start with the kindergarten book today, go to the first grade book, and if we have time, the second grade book. If not, I have all of these in note format that I am going to send to you with all of the correlations that we'll be talking about. And I do feel like once we go through one book, you can probably take the correlations and apply that to your other books. We'll also be looking at our new certificates that we have. I would like to get some feedback from those that have done anything out of the Camp Cook Play curriculum. The draft curriculum, it is not in finalized format yet. Kids in the Kitchen, we've had some requests for modifying or ways to modify Kids in the Kitchen to correlate more closely with the evaluation instrument. So we'll look for suggestions for that. Gardening, I'm interested in knowing if anyone out there is doing gardening with any of your groups, and then we'll open it up for other questions. As we move along the way through our PowerPoint and through our session today, if you have questions, go on and ask them. Raise your hand, type it in the chat box. Emily and Laura Lee, I'm going to ask you all to kind of keep an eye on that chat box and let me know if there is a question that pops up, because I'm looking at 3 or 4 different things over here and probably will not be keeping my eye on the chat box very closely. Any questions, or are there any additions that anybody wants to make to the agenda? Okay, I don't see that Renee has joined us yet, so we're going to go on and get started because my agenda is fairly full. So the first thing I want everybody to have is your Passport to Adventures in Nutrition workbook and your Passport to Adventures in Nutrition curriculum book. When you have that ready to go, if you'll give me a check so that I know everyone's ready.
You are currently the only person in this conference.
Yeah, I was just going to ask. Thanks, Larley. Who just joined us by teleconference? I think they may have dropped back out.
Suzanne, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I'm having a little trouble with my check box here, trying to check that I have my materials.
All right, so hover over the check where it says respond to poll, and then just bring your cursor right down to the yes and click.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. It looks like at least most of PAs have that are on the call have their books. So, somebody's joining us again.
Suzanne, that's Renee trying to come on. Renee, were you successful?
Good morning.
Good morning, Renee.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to start with you so that if you want to move on to working on some other items on your desk after your update, you can go on and do that. So Renee,
okay.
You're up.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. I'm sorry I joined late. I basically just want to, remind everybody, and I'll be sending an email out, that your bulk orders will be due this month, the month of October, for a November delivery. Please make sure you take a very good look at your inventory to plan to have enough supplies and materials to last you for 3 months, because you know it's 3 months before you get to order again. I know there will be situations where items might be needed in between time, and we'll work to accommodate those needs, but try very hard to always make sure you look at your supplies to make sure they last throughout, the span, the delivery times. And I think that's basically the main item I wanted to share this morning as far as updates are concerned.
Mary.
Thank you, Renee.
Mary couldn't hear her, so if you could repeat that.
Okay. Basically, I just want to remind everybody to remember that you are planning for a 3-month period for your supplies to last when you look at your inventory. It'll be time to place orders again the 1st of October for a November delivery. So please make sure when you're looking at your items, you're looking to make sure everything will last and cover you for that time, because the purpose of doing the bulk order deliveries is to save money, and it's been working, been very beneficial. So we want to continue to do this, but just try to make sure you look at your inventory closely so that your supplies last.
Thank you, Renee. We appreciate that. seems to have a little bit of difficulty with your microphone, or your telephone was cutting in and out and speeding up a little bit. Did everyone get a clear understanding of what she was asking for? This is your time to ask questions of Renee. Okay, so Laura Lee is typing in the chat box. You may have to scroll it back up, recapping what Renee has shared. Basically, make sure that you place your bulk order for supplies this month to your through the system. Orders will be delivered for the next quarter in November, so it's really important that you check your inventory and anticipate what your needs are. When we have to ship out items separately, it costs the program a lot more money than when we bulk ship. So it's very important that you try to calculate what you will need, even over order a little bit for those unexpected classes that you didn't think you might be getting. And I know storage sometimes is at a premium in your offices, so you don't want too much stuff, but do your best to balance your needs with your storage space as much as possible. And the order due date is October 10th. Thank you, Stephanie, for putting that in. Any questions? October 9th, sorry. Thanks, Stephanie. Any questions of Renee about ordering supplies?
And Suzanne, I will send.
Thank you,
okay,
Renee.
And I will send a reminder out to everybody.
Okay, we're going.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, so we're going to move on to our Adventures in Nutrition. If you will open your workbook to the first page. And I'm juggling three things here that I've got to try to be able to see everything. So my suggestion is that you either make notes in your curriculum or make notes in your workbook, either way or both, whichever works for you. What I'm going to do is tell you for each workbook page what page in your curriculum it correlates with. I will also send, at the end of the session, I will send you my 3 files where I have this all outlined in case you miss something or I'm going too fast. You will have it in written format that you can go back and check what notes you've taken and make sure that you've got everything right. So if you look at page 2 of the workbook, and right now we're in the land of variety, and this is our graphic for our sticker. Page 2 goes along with pages 15 and 16 in your curriculum, and it helps to reinforce the food groups that are in my plate. Page 3 in your workbook goes with pages 17 through 19. And it reinforces the very hungry caterpillar story and also helps to reinforce counting skills with our kindergartners. page 4 in the workbook correlates with pages 20 through 23. And this is a parent page. It provides a recipe for them to do with their children at home, and it also gives them a physical activity suggestion. So each of our lessons has a parent page associated with it. And it would be important for you to point that out to the students to let them know these are some things you can, when you take the book home, these are some things that you can do with your parent or your guardian at home. Page 5 correlates with pages 24 through 26 and reinforces physical activity, helping them identify what is physical activity and what's not. Okay, moving on to the land of the germ busters. Pages 6 and 7 correlates with pages 7 and 8 in your curriculum, and it's all about hand washing. It also goes along with some on page 11 and on 16 and 17. So we see hand washing in several places in our curriculum. Page 8 is our parent page with our recipe and physical activity.
Suzanne, can you back up one?
And that goes along with our recipe in the curriculum. Yes, I'm sorry.
We have some that missed it.
Oh, sure. Thank you. So we were talking about the hand washing. Is probably when I was giving out multiple pages. The hand washing goes with pages 7 and 8 in your curriculum, and also page 11 and page 16 and 17. You're welcome, Evelise. All right, moving on. And please let me know if I'm going too fast. I don't mind at all. So page 8 is our parents page with our recipe and our activity. It also correlates with page 10 in our curriculum, which is the smoothie recipe. Page 9 in our workbook correlates back with page 9 in our curriculum. So again, they're identifying when they wash their hands. Okay, moving on to the land of the farmers. Page 10 goes along with pages 1 through 5, and of course reinforces the location of the grain group on my plate and foods that belong in the grain group. Page 11 goes along with page 6 in the curriculum. And this reinforces the concepts that different grains are grown in different parts of the world. It allows the children to trace letters and learn new words. I do want you to note that in the curriculum, in your curriculum book, on the last paragraph on that page, it says to turn to page 9 in your passport booklet. you need to change that to page 11 with our new workbook. Just to repeat, the last paragraph on page 6 in your workbook in the in your curriculum book in the Land of the Farmers instructs the children to turn to page 9. You need to change that to tell them to turn to page 11 in their passport booklet. All right, moving on with page 12. That correlates with the Little Red Hen story that you find on pages 7 through 12. This allows the children to order the steps of making bread, so ordering is a concept that we want to help our children work on, and also reinforces writing skills at the bottom of the page. Page 13, again, is our parent page with our recipe. And this goes along with pages 13 and 14 in your curriculum.
What is she talking about?
So is there a question? That page is different in the curriculum. So I'm not sure. What are you seeing in your curriculum that makes it different? Go ahead, Evelise.
Are you talking about two different pieces of material?
Yes, so we have, I'm not sure who's speaking?
This is Yvonne in Hornet.
Hi, Yvonne. So yes, we are looking at our kindergarten level workbook and our kindergarten level curriculum. And what we're doing is we're correlating.
What's the workbook?
The workbook is the soft-bound 40-page book that we hand out to the students. And then your curriculum is the lesson.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So we're correlating how the workbook ties in with the lesson that's in your curriculum book. And I'm going through it page by page, sharing with everyone what page in the workbook is with which page in the curriculum book. Sarah?
Yes, when we had the meeting to go over the curriculum the first time, we changed the ingredients to this recipe. Do you want us to change it back to the one that's in the book now? We, instead of 6 cups of the oats, we added 3 cups of those and then 3 cups of the cinnamon cereal, and eliminated the water at the first curriculum meeting. Maybe that was just a variation you guys tried. I'm not sure.
Maybe. I don't know. But we did make this. I did make this one that's in the workbook.
Okay, great.
So I know this recipe works. If you've done it with different combinations, that's fine too.
Okay, great. I just wanted to make sure if it was a better result or which one was better. So thank you.
I can't say which one is better, but I do know that the one in the workbook does work.
Fantastic, thanks.
Okay. All right, so obviously, okay. Okay, so we had the parent page going along with the recipe page on pages 13 and 14. Recipes are slightly different, and that's okay. You'll find as we move through the different books that sometimes we don't even have the same recipe that you're doing in class or that's suggested for in class, and that's okay. This is a parent page. Okay. Moving on, page 14 in our curriculum, in our workbook, sorry, page 14 on our workbook correlates with the Little Red Hen song on pages 11 and 12. Which also promotes physical activity. Page 15 in the workbook goes along with page 15 in the curriculum book. And it's really a review and reinforces identification of grain foods. And you'll notice at the end of each of these lessons there is a place for them to put the sticker for completing that lesson. And you would hand that out to them at the end of the day, the end of your lesson. Okay, moving on to the Land of the Rabbits. Page 16. Arnetta, your curriculum book is the hard notebook called Adventures in Nutrition, Lessons in Healthful Living for Kindergarten. We had a training on it back several years ago. This is the Show Me Nutrition curriculum for kindergarten level. And for those that have joined late, I'll just remind everyone that the page correlations that I'm sharing with you today, I will send out also in written format to you. So if you miss a page, or whatever, it's okay. You'll have it in written format by the end of the day today. So you can go back and double check your notes. Okay, so moving on to the Land of the Rabbits. Page 16 goes along with pages 1 through 4 in the Land of the Rabbits curriculum book. It reinforces the location of the vegetables group on my plate and foods that belong in the vegetable group. Page 17 is our parent page and with our recipe, and goes along with pages 11 through 12 in the curriculum book. We have changed up this recipe. I can tell you we've changed up this recipe a little bit because what's in your curriculum really does a large amount and has you making this whole garden-looking thing with your food. We don't feel like...
Suzanne, I just want to let you know you're going into chipmunk mode. Yes, and you're mumbled. But we can understand you, but just if you'll slow down a bit.
Okay. So with the parent page, in the Land of the Rabbits, the recipe is a little different from what's in your curriculum book. In the curriculum book, it is a recipe designed for 24 people for a large group where you're making a vegetable garden. On the parent page, it's more making an individual bunny face. So we've just adapted it for in-home use. Page 18 correlates with page 13 in your book, reinforcing identification of vegetable foods. Page 19 correlates, we've moved to the Land of the Rainbows. Okay, in Land of the Rainbows, page 19 correlates with pages 1 through 4, reinforcing the location of the fruit group on my plate and foods that belong in the fruit group. Page 20 is the parent page, and that goes with pages 24 through 27 in your lesson plan. And here you're also classifying food as being healthier, one being healthier than the other. Again, this is a skill in kindergarten that teachers look for. On page 21 in the workbook, it correlates with page 28 in your curriculum and reinforces identification of fruit group foods. Okay, moving to the Land of the Great Beyond. Page 22 correlates with pages 1 through 5, where it reinforces the location of the dairy group on my plate and foods that belong in the dairy group. Page 23 doesn't really correlate with a specific page in this curriculum, but it does allow them to choose dairy foods to go with each of their meals and the snack. So it's just more reinforcement of general content and awareness of including dairy foods in each meal. So there's no specific page for that goes along with page 23. Page 24 correlates with pages 4, 5, and 6 in your curriculum, and it reinforces foods in the dairy group. Page 25 in the workbook is our parent page. So it goes along with several different pages. The recipe, the astronaut pudding, is found on pages 9 through 12 in our curriculum. The astronaut training song is on pages 15 through 19. And at the bottom, the little checklist reinforces drinking milk every day at lunch, correlates with page 21. Page 26, we've moved to the land of green eggs and ham. Page 26 goes along with page 5. Reinforces the location of the protein group on my plate and foods that belong in the protein group. Page 27 in the workbook correlates with pages 12 and 13 in your curriculum. And this reinforces the concept that protein foods come from either plant or animal sources and allows the youth to categorize foods by that source. Page 28 correlates with page 16 and emphasizes writing skills. Page 29 actually correlates back with pages 10 and 11. This is our green egg salad, our recipe. It is our parent page and some physical activity. Page 30, there's no specific page that this correlates to, but it reinforces identification of protein foods. Moving on to the land of healthy eating. Page 30 in your workbook, page 31, goes along with page 3 in that lesson. Identifying healthy foods from each food group. Page 32 and 33 reinforces the concepts being covered, pages 3 to page 13. So 3 all the way to 13. And this is a review of previous lessons. Evelise, go ahead. Evelise, did you have a question?
You need to press your talk button, Evelise, if you want to ask.
Looks like she's writing.
Evelise,
oh, now. Yeah, now it's working.
Okay,
sorry.
Your microphone was turned off, so you're okay now.
Okay. That Arnicia made a notation. She was telling me on page 3 of the land of healthy eating, it says that page 31, you said that page 31 corresponds with page 3, right?
Yes, and she's caught it. It should say page. So on page 3 in your curriculum book, about halfway through the first paragraph, it says on page 32 in your passport booklet, change that to page 31. Exactly. Thank you. I missed that. Missed telling you that. Thank you. And if you see any more of those as we move along, because there are several, might be in the next book, there are several where we have to change pages like that. And if I missed that, make sure that you call it to my attention. Thank you, Evelise. So on page 3 in the Land of Healthy Eating, in the first paragraph, about midway through, it refers to page 32 in your passport booklet. That should be changed to page 31. And then when you turn the page in your workbook to pages 32 and 33, this correlates with pages 3 through 13, which is a review of everything that they have learned. It also helps to reinforce writing skills. Pages 34 through 36 is still a review, talking about my plate. So the breakfast, let's see, I did not have any specific pages I identified for pages 34, 35, and 36. It's just reviewing the concepts. Page 37 in your workbook is the parent page with the recipe. Goes along with pages 19 and 20 with the Easy Breakfast Parfait. And then we added in the Fruity Fizz recipe. And page 38 and 39 is a review of physical activity and goes along with pages 17 and 18. All right, Kathy says on page 12 in the Land of Green Eggs, it should be changed from page 29 to 27. Thank you, Kathy. Page 12. I missed that one. Wait a minute. Now I'm on the wrong page. 29 to 27. All right. Let me make my note on here. I can update that for you. Okay. Any questions? Any more corrections that you all see that I missed? Again, I will send out this in a Word document so that you can have this to refer to. All right, what's our time? We have until 9 to 10:30. Okay. I am going to right now I'm going to skip going through the first and second grade books. The concept is the same. I think you can take the correlation documents that I'm going to send and do the same thing sitting at your desk. As you go through that, if you have questions, feel free to shoot me a note, give me a call or whatever. But I did want to go through at least one complete curriculum correlation with you. So what I want to do now is slip on down to certificates. I realized during the summer that our certificates needed updating and that we were missing some certificates that you probably need to have. So we worked on those, and as you can see on the whiteboard, they have all been loaded on our website for you to download and print on demand. They are writable certificates, so you can actually type them in, type in the names of everybody. You can have your secretary, your administrative assistant do that, or you can do it. I want to just show you each of the certificates. So this is the certificate for Adventures in Nutrition. And of course, you'd put your child's name under Presented To. You can type in your extension agent's name, your FCS agent, or the CED. You can type in the date, and you can type in your name. So we've come a long way from where we had to handwrite all of this stuff. Emily has put the link to that in the chat box.
I did keep that idea. I forgot I did that.
Okay, so this is the kindergarten certificate. The first grade certificate, Fun with Food and Fitness. So we've made sure that the logo for that curriculum is on the certificate. The second grade, Food Group Express. Third grade, Building My Body. Fourth grade, Choosing Foods for Me. Fifth grade, Exploring the Food Groups. We did put the sixth grade certificate up here. Most of you probably will not use this, but it is there if you want it. Kids in the Kitchen for our after-school program. This thing keeps doing this to me. We have a teen cuisine certificate. It looks just like everything else. I don't know why it keeps going black on me. But it's there. The Camp Cook Play, which still is in draft form, we do have the certificate designed and up on the site if you want to use that or need to use that. Cyber Shop. This is a generic certificate. Sometimes y'all are mishmashing things together and you're not using a particular curriculum, but you still want to give a certificate, so you can use this, which is just a very generic certificate that they participated in a 4-H nutrition education program. Sarah has made a comment that it makes it fast to copy the names from your enrollment form to a new spreadsheet and then autofill the certificates. If you want to know how to do that, contact Sarah directly, or perhaps your AA in your office would know how to do that. Thank you, Sarah. That is a great tip. I don't know how to do that, but I'm sure somebody in my office would if I had to do that. Emily probably. Okay, and then we have, this is our volunteer certificate. So you would fill in the volunteer's name on this and give this to them. Okay, questions on the certificates? Or any other good hints? All right. So we've had several people this summer utilize bits and pieces from the Camp Cook Play draft curriculum that you all received when we were at NCA&T in Greensboro a year and a half ago, June a year and a half ago. We are still working on finishing up this curriculum and getting it into final format. But I would like to hear about your experiences with what you've used out of the Camp Cook Play, what you liked and what didn't work well, because especially the didn't work well would give us an opportunity to revise that activity to make it better and more useful for you. So I'm going to open up the floor for feedback. Looks like Kathy is writing some.
Suzanne, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
When we had that training a year and a half ago, I'm trying to remember, didn't we do the Camp Cook Play? Some of the PAs did that curriculum and some of the other PAs did the other curriculum. Because I didn't do the Camp Cook Play curriculum, I have no material. I think I went into the training for the Show Me Nutrition curriculum. I mean, Adventure in Nutrition curriculum. I'm not sure about Camp Cook. I never used that.
So at that training, the division was between adults and youth. So if you were 100% youth, you came into the Camp Cook Play. So if you'll remember, we had we made the several different arts and crafts projects. We took the paper towel tubes and covered it with the pretty tape and did the 5 rings for a ring toss game. Do you remember doing that?
Yeah, I do. In that big room.
I knew you were in that training.
Yeah, okay.
So it was all Xeroxed pages, very rough draft form.
Okay, I remember.
Okay. Sarah, if you will send that those instructions to me, I'll just send them out to the whole group. How about that? Okay. So I'm not hearing any comments on Camp Cook Play. If you do have some and just don't feel like sharing them verbally, you can send them to me in a written format or give me a call and we'll talk personally. All right, we did have a request to help align the Kids in the Kitchen curriculum to our evaluation questions. My question, or my ask is, do you have specific suggestions or specific places where you feel it does not, and do you have suggestions on how to do that? say that again. Okay. So we had a request from a PA to help to do some modifications or make some suggestions for modifications to Kids in the Kitchen to help align it more closely with the evaluation instrument. That the way that it's written, now remember this is from Missouri, that it does not address all of the evaluation questions if you're teaching the curriculum. So the question is, what modifications do you have? Or what modification suggestions would you make, if any? And the other thing I would like to know is which questions are not being addressed. And that's probably the more important piece. And it may be something you need to think about and send to me. Yes, Evelise.
Well, one of the things that it doesn't address is food safety. So I just add the components for food. It talks about food safety in the kitchen part. So what I do is I talk more about food safety in that kitchen, the first lesson that they talk about, the kitchen and asking for a grown-up if you're going to cook, if you want to cook, etc. So I just add more information in terms of food safety. And the other thing I do is I use videos for physical activity.
Okay.
So then it promotes better the physical activity concept. I use Go Noodle. Some videos from Go Noodle are in YouTube.
Yep. Okay, let's see. So Kathy says, I think we need another type of evaluation for after school and summer programs because we're seeing some of the same children, so giving the same evaluation does not get any impacts. I understand that. I'm on the national committee to look at the 3rd through 5th grade evaluation instrument. We're looking at the validity of the questions and are we asking the right questions, the appropriate questions. This particular issue, Lorley, I don't know if it was brought up in the meeting that you sat in on. It was not discussed during our last session. Was that brought up during your meeting?
I have brought it up to our national program leader. They're aware of the issues around youth evaluation. It is taking a while to get through this process. So they have adjusted the K through 2. They're working on the 3 through 5, and they'll keep continuing through that process. The only thing, Suzanne, that I would say is that as you're working on that committee, because that committee will report to the overall group at the National EFNEP conference in March, and it's just important to keep reminding the group that there needs to be a different evaluation for these combined summer groups and combined after-school groups.
I will do my best to share that thought with them. Go ahead, Mary. You have a question about K through 2.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
This is a question. When Susan and she was showing us how they entered the data at the state level. If you had a question that had, like, we'll take the physical activity, and they had to choose swinging and riding your bike, which would be correct. But if they chose swinging and playing on the computer, which was still 2 answers, it is marked correct. Because they chose
not
2,
correct.
Even though it was the wrong 2.
That's not correct, Mary.
Okay, that's
what happens is they chose
how many they had, not whether it's right.
No, that's not how it's done.
Whether they choose the right 2?
Yes.
Okay, tell me that.
So they start out with a score of 0. And what happens with your youth evaluations is they are scored. They're not counted in terms of responses. They're scored in terms of responses. And so let's say they chose the swing set and the riding the bike. Those are 2 correct answers. That would be a score of 2. If they chose swinging and the computer, that would be a score of 1.
Okay, thank you, because that's been worrying me for a while, so thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Other questions or concerns about the evaluation? If you would, and I know that you need to think about the kids in the kitchen, if you would, go back and take a look at it, those of you that really do use it, and I will be doing the same, but let me know where you see that, or which questions you see are not being addressed through the Kids in the Kitchen curriculum. Then from that information, then we can make some suggestions on how to adjust the curriculum to make sure that you're covering the missing questions. Okay, and feel free to send them to me or give me a call. Okay. Is there a question? Okay, moving on to gardening. A question has been asked of me by one of our people here at the state level, Annie Hardison Moody, who works with our Faithful Families program and some grant programs, etc. And they're looking at doing some youth gardening curriculum. And she would like to know who out there has done any kind of work with your youth in terms of gardening. Sarah?
Yes, I have worked in a couple of different ways with youth and gardening. I have a teen cooking class that's a 4-H club, and we have a garden outside of our center, and we will use a lot of our ingredients from there and also plant when they come once a month. I also help with a 4-H program called Soil School, and I reinforce some of our nutrition with that group, and it's a group of 3rd graders. At a local school, we walk up to a community garden and do some work there, and then I usually talk about the nutrition of the plants that they're harvesting or that we're planting.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I know Annie or one of the people working with her will probably be in contact with you to get some more information about what you're doing. I will share with her your contact information. Anybody else doing anything just even on the fringes of working with gardens with youth?
Well, Suzanne, you probably already know this, that Gaston County has a gardening component, and they have actually written a curriculum that's geared for 3rd grade, and it's pretty much parallels Professor Popcorn. And when Lorraine was doing it, she would do the nutrition part of it, and then another program assistant, a horticulture program assistant, would do the actual gardening part where they would be outside and, you know, growing the vegetables, planting and growing the vegetables. And they've been doing that for, gosh, I want to say maybe 8 years or more, and it's been very successful.
Okay, great. I'll share that with them and probably have them call you to get more information.
Okay.
Arnetta?
Well, this summer I did work with the kids in the kitchen, and we just did a little herb gardens, just some soil in a pot. And then another thing I did with the kids, we took them on some small farm tours, 5 different small farms, and showed them how they can garden and stuff like that. So that's all I did with gardening.
Okay, thank you. That sounds great. Evilise had a question. Is that SNAP Ed, and what are you referring to with that, Evilise? What Judy was talking about?
Yes, what Judy was talking about 3rd grade, because here one of our 4-H agents from A&T is going to be doing SNAP Ed, and somebody told me it's 3rd grade.
So Judy said no, that was not SNAP Ed. Okay. Arnetta, are you raising your hand again, or is that still from when you were? Okay.
I never took it
sure.
off. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Other questions? Or comments? Or sharing about gardening? So for those of you that will be listening to the recording who are not with us today, if you are doing any gardening activities at all with your kids, please let me know as soon as you can, as soon as you listen to this. Annie and her group would like to have some conversations about that and see what is actually going on out there already before they move forward with their project. And just so you know, I will be going to a conference the end of November, right before Thanksgiving, to be trained, or to at least be exposed to, I don't know about trained, but to be exposed to a gardening nutrition curriculum that comes out of Texas called Learn, Grow, Eat, and Go. So I'm looking forward to that, learning what they have developed there and how we might be able to utilize it here in North Carolina. And I know Annie's going to be looking forward to my sharing what I learned from that also with her group. Okay. I do want to mention, I noticed Salim is on our call. I do want to thank Salim. Salim has been the driving force behind our workbook development, the 3 workbooks that you have, kindergarten, 1st, and 2nd grade. So I do want to thank him and give him lots of applause and kudos for the work that he has done to make those happen. Thank you, Salim. And if you want to applaud him, you go to the left-hand little smiley face and then hit the applause button. And if you don't know, Salim has moved to a new role, not with EFNEP anymore. We're thankful that he's joined us today. Salim is working with the 4-H program team with Health Rocks program. So he'll be working with your 4-H agents in your counties, helping do training and delivery of the Health Rocks curriculum. So he's still in the nutrition field, in the health field, He's just taken on a new role and a little bit more permanent situation as far as employment than what we were able to give him. So we're sad to lose Salim, but glad that he's landed still in our family. Okay, I want to open up the floor for any questions that may be on your mind, any burning issues. Evelise, go ahead.
Yes, I know that you have asked us to, if we give the teachers or the contacts, the evaluations for the programs, to forward them to you. But there's not an evaluation for Teen Cuisine. I don't know if that may be something that you will be developing so we can share with the teachers and eventually share with you.
Okay, yes, you're correct. There is not a teacher evaluation for Teen Cuisine. I'll take a look at that and see what we can pull together if you're using that in a school setting. Of course, those teacher evaluations are for when you're using curriculum within the school year in a school setting. So, yeah, I will look at that because I know that you do use that and many do use that in a school setting. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Mary?
I was so excited about these workbooks. I kind of jumped on them, and when I started my classes, and I told Susan last week I felt like I'd gone to EFNEP bad place because they were very hard for, I'm sitting in a class with 25 first graders and no assistant, and they had a hard time following along. So I was wondering if there was any way we could get, they didn't even know the word before and after, where you were supposed to circle, you wash your hands before you do this or after. They were just circling everywhere. So is there a way we can get like a jump drive to put it on the smart board so we can kind of do it together, or some posters, or do I just need to wait till after Christmas to start with these kids? Because it was just way over their head. And it was frustrating them and me, and I said, this isn't going to work because they're not going to want me to come. We're going to be fussing the whole time. Not fussing, but So that's a suggestion, if we could get something to put on the smart board to help them out so we can do it together until they get used to it, or the big posters like we had for the evaluations. And my other question is, in the real world, they should take these books home and do the parent page at the end of the lesson, but the chances of us getting our books back, could we do that, are probably slim to none. So what do you suggest there?
Yeah. The books are not designed to go home between lessons. They are designed to be taken home at the very end of your total session. So we do not want them going home between hand because, yes, you're right, they will not come back.
Exactly.
And I will look at your thoughts, your suggestions on putting it on a flash drive. Not sure how we'll do that, but Laura Lee and I will look at that and talk about how we can make that happen for you.
Mary, this is Laura Lee. Mary, this is... Yeah, Mary, this is Laura Lee, and I just wanted to interject. If you are working with kindergarten through 2nd grade in the first half of the year, there are going to be some challenges because they do need to be at a certain point. Right. Everything that's in the curriculum is designed around the standards for that particular grade level, but I will tell you that I think you will find it much easier to accomplish, especially given the fact that school funding has decreased for those grades. Many school systems do not have teacher assistants like they once did, so it will be easier to teach those in the spring. And I realize that, you know, we're getting the materials out to you as fast as we can, but our limitation is there are very few of us to get this done. And so we're doing the very best we can. The curriculum did not come with it. They couldn't have matched our standards for North Carolina anyway. But I do like your suggestion of putting the pages that you're going to be using in a format on a flash drive where you can flash them up on the smartboard. I do think, given the current environment, that will be a lot easier. I'll let you know that I've taught some classes, or I taught a series of classes myself using this format that Suzanne has shared with you today with kindergartners. And I did have, in the particular classroom that I was working in, a teacher and a teacher's assistant. They were very responsible volunteers in that classroom and helped me to circulate as we were doing the activities in the workbook. Ahead of time, I talked to them about the workbook and about certain points that I would leave for them to do in class between the times that I visited. And so those are considerations too. You may want to focus on what you want to do while you're with them and what you want to ask the teachers to do in between your visits. So that's something you can do in the meantime.
Okay, thank you. And I do use the kindergartners, when I do them like after Easter is when I usually concentrate on kindergartners. The workbooks work great, but right now it was like, with the classes so large too, that wasn't helping. Thank you.
I have large classes, honey. I do 3 first graders, 3 classrooms of first graders every second semester. And I'm going to do now kindergarten. I joined her also. Join her.
Oh, join her. I thought you were going out to Jones. Okay.
I like Jones, but the teachers left, the ones that I had, and then in first grade, if they're talking in Spanish, the principal left.
Dang, because he was a good one.
Yeah, she left to Winston-Salem.
No, a white guy.
Where? Who? At Jones Immersion School?
Young looking white guy. I saw him when I went to Warrensville for
the
adult group.
When?
Probably 2 years ago. That's how I see you.
I'm not sure if some of you are trying to have a conversation with us or if you're having a conversation with each other. But it's so, Evelise, I'm going to ask you because we hear you more than we hear Arnesia. Are y'all having a conversation with each other or a conversation with us? Okay. Moving on, any other questions or comments? These have been really, really good. Okay. Not hearing any, not seeing any more comments written. I will let you know that we are working right now on the 3rd grade workbook. I won't promise you when that's coming out, but we hope sooner than later. And we will move then immediately to the 4th grade and then the 5th grade workbooks as quickly as we can. And as we do that, we will also put together a correlation document that will be sent out to you all for you to make those connections between the workbook and the curriculum. Okay. Any other questions or comments before we sign off? Yes, Evelise.
Okay, as we are working with these handbooks, and eventually for the higher grade in elementary school, have they been related to the standard course of study or the common course in terms of the standards that are teaching for the grade?
The workbooks, is that what you're asking? Have they been related?
Yes. So it's easier for us to come with a workbook and show the teachers. And in addition to what you were saying, you know, this is for writing, this is for counting. Are we doing that?
Yes, so we've not done a separate correlation with the standards, with the North Carolina standards, with the workbook. The workbook goes along with the curriculum, which has been correlated with the standards.
So, Evelise, when you talk to your teachers or your principals, what they're interested in hearing about is, does the curriculum correlate with the standards? The workbook is a supplemental material to that curriculum, so it's part of the curriculum.
Okay. Mary, go ahead.
At this point, are we able to order more workbooks for our next groups if we need them? Or
yes.
I know that
yes.
Susan brought us enough to get started. So can we order more workbooks? We can. Okay. Thank you.
You're cutting in and out, but when you place your bulk order this month, if you will place a bulk, if you will include the workbooks that you need for the next quarter, I'm going to ask you not to hoard, but make sure you have enough to last you for that quarter. Include that in your bulk order, then it will come to you in November.
Any other questions? All right, hearing none, thank you all for joining us today. We appreciate your time. Hope that this has been helpful for you to see how to use the workbook in correlation with your curriculum. Look for the, I will be sending out all three levels, kindergarten, first and second grade correlation to you via email by the end of the day. So you can take these and correlate your first grade and second grade books and make sure that you caught everything that we talked about today with the kindergarten book. Thank you all. Have a great weekend.